How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and welcome to 3 build ideas for the upcoming 3.6 Flashback League. I almost said 3.7. Almost. We're not there yet, but hopefully soon we can get our melee rework. But yeah, this video is going to be covering a few build ideas that I've been working on the past little while, and hopefully it'll get the juices flowing and get you potentially thinking about whatever build you are looking to create for Flashback League. Maybe give you some ideas, or just give you a character potentially. Now, these are going to be ideas, which means they're theory crafts and that sort of stuff, so I haven't played these builds in actuality. Well, one of them I have played a little bit, but they have not been fully tested. If you want to see fully tested builds, there will be a link to a card on screen or in the description somewhere that will link you to my 3 builds for synthesis. I'm going to be so glad I don't have to say that word anymore. 3 builds for Synthesis League, to which have been fully tried and tested all the way up to like tier 13, 14-ish in solo self-found. And they can all probably go farther as well, so there will be a link to that on screen right now, as well as a link to the previous video, which should be from yesterday, that'll be showing off my Flashback character, which is a Brutality Cleave Berserker, which I have right here, but I've made that video already, so if you want to see the character I'll be playing, that will be on screen as well. But with that being said, for these ideas I have 3 characters you can play a few different ways, as well as 3 different play styles pretty much entirely. So to start us off, we have a 5 million DPS Burning Arrow Ranger. Now, this is going to be a little more difficult to achieve, but it should be manageable. I started actually playing this character, and I was considering finishing it off before the league ends, but considering we only have 4 days left until the league comes out, because it comes out on Friday, I want to finish up my Soul Rest Necro and kind of call it GG. So I didn't get around to fully finishing this character, but I did start playing it quite a bit, and it works out surprisingly well. I only got it to like level 40 or so, but even then it was clearing exceptionally fast without really worrying about anything. The biggest thing is that I started playing Vol Burning Arrow kind of as a meme, and then I realized it was just a lot of fun, because if you shoot Vol Burning Arrows with bonus projectiles, all of the burning arrows explode, and it's just really satisfying when you hear the explosion go off and then watch a boss get one shot. So I was like, you know, how much can I take that and kind of run with it? And so I looked into a few burning arrow builds. I grabbed a couple and I tweaked them around a little bit over and over and over again, and you end up with this type of build right here. Now, this has been fully tweaked up and fully built out and all that sort of stuff. It has a Combs Heart. You won't be able to get that, I mean, unless you're playing Trade League. It's not really a necessity. You don't need to go with as many uniques as there are here. The only real things you need to get, is a Chin Soul and a Signal Fire, which pretty easy to drop, or you can just get a Black Gleam as well. I mean, the Signal Fire upgrade is very, very useful, but Black Gleam is what I was using when I was leveling the character, and it works out in the end. And then the Chin Soul is kind of the main piece. Obviously, Legacy Chin Soul is not really an option in Flashback, but still. Chin Soul stacked with Point Blank actually works and like double stacks up. It's pretty insane. So you can get some very good mileage out of that. Skill tree is based around getting Frenzy Charges, getting Blood Rage to go very, very insane. And while I was leveling this, I put a Quill Rain on it, and then got Tailwind, and my god, you attack really fast. It's hilarious. And of course, you're playing Ranger, you're playing Tailwind Deadeye, you're extremely fast, your attack rate's really good. You have a Chin Soul, so you want to play relatively close, but at the same time, you've got good attack speed. You're not really worrying about much. Life total is a little iffy. I did skimp out a little bit in the way of life for damage. You can switch certain things around to aim for more life if you'd want to. Of course, it's got the Combs Heart here as well, so, you know, you can take that out and go for an all-life chess piece or whatever way you want to play it. But all around, it's pretty simple. You just get as much bow damage as possible, get Deadly Draw, get your elemental damage down here, elemental with attack skills, get as many Frenzy Charges as possible, get some crit chance in there. This is without power charges, so if you want to find a way to get power charges on the build, you can get even more damage and mileage. What you could do is use a 5 or 6 link setup in your chess piece that has power charge on critical, and then you can get even more crit chance if that's something you're about. And then of course we're rolling with Deadeye over here. Now surprisingly, going for endless munitions didn't really pan out to as much damage. This pathing does give you a lot more mileage in the way of DPS. Character survivability should be pretty decent, has good life leech, has good life regen. Running, I believe, Stone Golem like I normally do. No, it's got Ice Golem. You can run either if you want to. If you want to aim for more survivability, go for good old Stone Golem in there. But yeah, rather simple, rather effective, excruciatingly high DPS. And for one that I've started playing, it worked out pretty well. I decided to take it Magic Find, or well, Rarity in my case. And I was still able to kill everything in pretty much 2 to 3 shots while leveling. It was kind of a meme. But yeah, all around pretty effective. Able to be taken in an MF way if you want to start going an MF character for solo self-found or trade league or whatever. You can very easily do that. Wind Ripper probably isn't really that good of a choice, but you can squeeze on rarity gear pretty much anywhere you want to, because you're not going to lose out on anything so long as you have the bow and quiver. Everything else is switchable if you want to optimize around whatever playstyle you would like. Now, with that being said, let's move on to our second character, which is going to be a kind of hybrid. You can play it in a couple different ways. This is a 1.5 million Armageddon brand character, which can be played, in my case, I made it Berserker because I was kind of memeing around and messing around. But you can also play it Witch as Elementalist, or alternatively, you could play Chieftain if you wanted to as well. I was originally going Chieftain, but I wanted to mess around and make a Berserker spellcaster. And it kind of worked out. It kind of worked, but yeah. So this has 3 brands going at the same time. I don't even think it has brand recall in here because I didn't even get that far. I didn't get around to playing this character, sadly, because I had a couple different things going on at the time I was going to play this. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is that the character is basically naked with just decent spell damage wands and a +1 tabula. I mean, +1 tabula is a little harder to achieve in Trade League, or not in Trade League, in SSF. But, I mean, for the character being mostly naked and still having very, very stupid high damage, consider putting on, you know, Onslaught Flasks, Damage Flasks, that sort of thing, and then getting Curse from Impresence or whatever, and just running around spamming Brand Recall over and over again. And you're going to get a lot of mileage. Brands are very stupid powerful right now. And this is even post-Armageddon brand nerf. There's still potential for, what's the other one? I don't remember what it is. Stormbrand, I think? One of my moderators in stream played Stormbrand, and he just annihilated the entire planet while leveling. So Stormbrand is a very good option as well. Brands, just in general, are very good. It's like a sort of totem playstyle if you don't enjoy totem playstyle, I guess. Because you can kind of slot down your totems and then press brand recall over and over and over and keep pulling the brands to you, and they'll keep doing the insane amounts of damage. I'm looking forward to playing this character at some point eventually. I don't know if I'll play it Marauder. This was kind of a bit of a joke, but it actually worked out. I mean, the damage is there, and you've got the healing and the mana regeneration from Warbringer, and you got the movement speed there as well, so as much of a meme as that kind of is, it is kind of a thing. But for those of you who want a more realistic option, Chieftain or Elementalist either work very, very effectively. Get some Herald of Ash going in here, and just explode the entire world. I'm sure this will work very, very well. Now, skill tree is pretty simple. You know, we start off down here, getting as much life as possible in my normal Marauder plan. Then we get the Totem and Brand damage cluster here, and we work our way up and through, get Holy Fire over here, and then get Rune Binder, so we get the extra brand. We get 1 brand here, we get 1 brand here, and then we have 1 brand baseline. So we have 3 brands, which is how this number gets up to 1.5-ish million damage. Because Path of Building doesn't plan around the fact you have 4 totems or 3 brands or that sort of stuff. It just gives you the damage for 1 brand, to which totem characters get even more powerful in reality rather than on paper. So if you're looking at a totem build or Armageddon brand build or a minion build, anything like that in Path of Building, and you're looking at it and going, why is his minions only doing like 60k? This is a fucking joke. Then you see it says minion limit 20, and then, you know, you do the math, and all of a sudden that's a lot of damage. But 20 minions at 50k is like a million damage, or something like that, if I remember correctly. I think that's how you do math, right? So it's kind of alluding in regards to that, but keep that in mind if you look at anyone else's builds in regarding minions or totem style stuff. Words are difficult to string together coherently. Anyways, yeah, you can just take spell damage here and then cut out the life stuff and cut this entire bottom half here if you want to. You could go ES with this as well. You could potentially go ES Occultist if you want to. I only say that because you can get a lot of effective HP going Occultist very, very easily. Playing SSF, I managed to get to about 7k ES without really trying that hard, and that was on my first ES character. Some people are managing 12k plus, etc, etc. It's pretty insane. And my chess piece was pretty average. I had like a 430 ES chess piece, and then someone linked me like a 1.2k ES chess piece, and I was like, man, my gear is actually trash. So you can get a lot of health in regards to going ES as opposed to life if you want to. That option is very, very viable. With that being said, our last build is actually going to be a CI character, a CI Totem Occultist. Now, this is an Ethereal Knives totem character. You don't need to play it totems if you don't want to. You can play it like self-cast at EK Nova. I did want to play a self-cast EK Nova character, but I wanted to play like a Deadeye. I think I still may eventually. See how I can make that work. Because what I wanted to do was go for a Tailwind and make like a very, very fast, speed clear Nova Deadeye. Which would work very, very well, I think, in regards to fast, clear, speed clear type of stuff. Maybe throw some rarity on it, do some Blood Aqueducts runs, and some speed farm in there. And you might be able to get a lot of mileage out of that type of character. Now, with this, I mean, Witch is pretty much set up to do everything that we want to in regards to getting this type of totem setup going. We can get to Ancestral Bond very easily. We have Zealot's Oath for life regeneration. We have CI to become immune to chaos damage. One little tip with this, if you want to go CI, set up your Atlas so you do Geode maps over and over and over again, because the Geode boss on tier 6 it is right now, does all chaos damage. So if you don't get melee hit from him, you literally are invincible to the boss. So that's a little bit of a tactic that I learned with the way I did my Atlas. So you can kind of plan around that if you want a boss that literally isn't a problem for you. If you find you have bossing problems or anything like that, that is a viable option. Now this build goes entirely cold, which is why we also go Occultist. We get cold damage up here, we get cold damage and cold conversion down here. And I believe there's cold conversion from somewhere else too. I think it's from Burns, yeah. So for SSF, this is a little bit more difficult-ish, kind of. I'm speaking from an SSF point of view. I know some people will just play it in Trade League and not really care. But this character is pulling in, I believe, 1 million damage, I'm pretty sure. 1 million to 1.2 million-ish. Because we have Soul Mantle for 1 totem. We have Shield for 1 extra totem. We have Ancestral Bond, and then we have the base 1 totem, right? So we got 4 totems going on there, which puts us 300 x 4 is 1.2 million, roughly. As I said, I had to preface that with the totem stuff earlier to kind of make it make sense, so you don't look at, oh, it's 300k, lol, why don't I just play the 5 million Burning Arrow? I mean, there is that argument, but still. Either way, for playing SSF, you really just need the Prim Burns. The Soul Mantle is kind of whatever. I mean, it's good. It's very, very good. But, yeah, I mean, it gets a little difficult to drop sometimes. I find that dropping a Soul Mantle is a lot more achievable if you're going to run a bunch of incursions. That's where I've been getting mine from. I dropped 2 Soul Mantles in incursion recently. It's kind of weird. But if you get like the Vaults room or the Armor room, you drop Soul Mantles in there very easily, unless it's just my loot seed, potentially, because, you know, that's a meme that's still going around. But yeah, Soul Mantle's very easily counterable with a Curse Immune Flask. In this case, I have an Onslaught Curse Immune Flask. That's what I normally roll with some increased duration. And you can get some very good mileage and very, very good damage out of this. One thing to keep an eye out for on any type of totem builds is that the shield craft is now an option on Shaper shields. So do look around for Shaper shields if you ever come across any. You can roll it just with Chaos or with Alks and that sort of stuff. You can also roll it with the good old Alteration Regal method if you want to multi-mod a shield for whatever reason it is viable. If you can manage to get a spell damage implicit shield, you're going to have a very good time for this type of build. And I dropped one last league and I got a lot of mileage out of it. So I would recommend, if you can manage to buy or drop a spell damage implicit Shaper shield, you can get a lot of mileage on totem characters, and that might be the spark for you to create a totem character, or a spell totem character anyways. Even though they made a push towards hand casting spells, the totem playstyle and totem effectiveness is still very, very high, because why hand cast a spell once when you can have 4 totems casting them all at the same time, quadrupling your standard DPS? Totems are still effective. They didn't really do much in regards to the hand casting spell changes, as much as we expected, I suppose. Build is also very effective for SSF because you get Ring of Blades very easily. You get Ring of Blades in Act 5, which turns your EK into a Nova, which will make life simple. Let's be honest here, it'll make things very, very simple. The only thing that you need to worry about, or kind of know about, is if you haven't played Totems before, any sort of on-kill effect or leech type effect or anything like that won't affect you, the player, it'll affect the totems. So this means we don't get access to Blood Rage, even though I have it locked here. I should cut that, but I mean, that's whatever. You don't get Frenzy Charges off of Blood Rage. You can get Frenzy Charges off of ulterior methods. You can get it off of Raised Spectre. You can get it off of, there's a flask that I got as well that gives you Frenzy Charges. I dropped it at SSF, I don't remember its name. So that can give you a lot of damage and a lot of mileage, but you don't get things like Blood Rage. I left it in here to showcase, obviously. You don't get the Frenzy Charges off kills, you don't get Rage off Berserker, you don't get those sorts of things. Hopefully that might change in the future, but I don't think it's something they're really going to address. But whatever, that's how things go. But yeah, the average hit of the Nova is about 100k, which should destroy most, if not all, trash mobs. And because we have 4 totems, that's 400k per second-ish, right? You can see what's going on with a 2.85 cast rate. Shit's gonna die. Shit's gonna die very fast and very effectively. There's a lot of, how do I say this correctly? There's a lot of builds that'll kind of trick you with low DPS, and you look at the average hit and you're like, oh shit, that's pretty much half the DPS. So when the average hit is this high, the damage per second can be lower, because one hit will destroy the entire pack type of build. So watch out for that as well when you're looking at other people's builds. But yeah, that has been my 3 builds for Flashback League. Let me know your guys' thoughts and input. The skill tree on this is very simple as well. You go and get your Jewel for Ring of Blades over here. Start off with that. Get your CI, get LE Overload, Zealot's Oath, and Ancestral Bond. There's a lot of keystones in this one. But you also want to get Winter Spirit very, very quickly to get Fizz convert to Cold, so that your EK Knives will convert to Cold. And potentially drop a pair of Hermburns if you can, if your RNG's up there, or if you just want to buy them in Trade League. That option is viable as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope I got an idea sparked for you, if at all possible. And yeah, take a look at the other videos in the description and on screen right now. And as always, that is going to be all from me. Take care, lads.